Ladies and gentlemen, all new event, Ben Brandon.
You know, it's we were actually chasing the sun on the plane on the way there. It was pretty cool, pretty cool. But coming back, it's been a little nuts, been a little hectic. Our internal clocks are all messed up. But it was an amazing trip. We actually made, I think we had one of our biggest weeks while we were in Thailand, which, you know, it's not to brag or boast, but just to say, you know, it's what Seeker can provide. And when you first get started in this industry, it's like work, check, work, check. And then when you start to get, you know, in the industry and you start to rank advance and you start doing the deal and get paid and promoted, it's like work, check, work, check, you know? So, and that's just what, you know, leveraged residual income can provide. The challenge is most of us never even think of it because we go through 12 years of school just to learn how to get a job and go work for someone else who's getting check, because they put a lot of money up front in order to build that brick and mortar that we go get employment for. Does that make sense? So, you know, 97% of us work for the 3%. And, you know, what Secret allows you to be is in the 3% without having the high cost and the high overhead of actually, you know, having the brick and mortar. Does that make sense? So tonight I want to talk about promoting events. And the reason is because, you know, that's, if you become a good promoter in this business, you get rich. You get really wealthy. You know, it's like Don King, right? You know, Don King was one of the silliest looking people. You know, he just, but he was a brilliant man. He promoted fights, never got in the ring. You know, he took a lot of people's money, which he should have got punched. But you know, but he was a promoter, and he got very, very wealthy. So if you could become a Don King, you can get really wealthy. Does that make sense? Especially in this industry. You know, it's all about getting people to events. The great thing about our compensation plan is, you know, it actually pays you very well for getting people paid and promoted, you know, versus most compensation plans in direct sales actually pays you to keep people down so you can capitalize on that spread. But our compensation plan, you know, with check match. But I'm going to talk about promoting events tonight. And why? Because, you know, meetings make money. It's the bottom line. And the more people you get out to events, the more money you make. The more people you get in front of the information, the more money you make. Whether it's a spa party, whether it's a sit-down appointment during the day, whether it's a webinar, whether it's an actual overview online, you know, a website, whether it's an actual regional event, whether it's a convention. The more people you get in front of the information, the more money you'll make. They say you do the ushering, we do the preaching, and you keep the offering. All right? Can I get an amen? Right? So it's just, you relate it to church. It's just the way it is. It is, you know. But so you're not supposed to be the message. You're supposed to be the messenger, right? So you're supposed to pique people's interest and get them in front of the information, right? Because most people they evaluate us for who we are, and they don't know us as skincare experts. They know us as, you know, Ben, you know, the guy in mortgages, the guy in real estate. They didn't know me as a secret agent. You know, they didn't know me as a skincare guy. You know, I still don't know that much about the products, quite honestly, but I know how to get people in front of information. And, you know, that's all we're good at doing, really. So we're going to talk about promoting events tonight. And, you know, Tim Herr is really the master at this. These are his slides. What I love about this business is that you don't have to be really, really good. You just have to be really good at copying people. So I copied his slides because he sent them to me, you know, which is awesome. That's how I got through high school, by the way, is copying. But anybody else? Uh-huh. All right. I'm not the only one, you know. Actually, you know what's funny? Two of, you know, the people that I look up to in business raise their hand, you know. So I guess I'm doing right. So do you guys know who P.T. Barnum is? Yeah. Right? Who's P.T. Barnum? Barnum and Bailey Circus, right? They promote circus, right? Circus is in town, isn't it? Or it was this past weekend, right? I know a lot of people I saw on Facebook, a lot of people were going, right? He says, without promotion, something terrible happens. You know what that is? Nothing, right? So you promote stuff. Think about the movies, for example, right? Anybody seen a good movie lately? No, nobody saw a good movie lately? What's a good movie? 300, the new movie, right? Think about if they didn't actually do a trailer, right? Or an actual commercial for that. Would you even know it's out yet?
No.
No. But they promoted the trailer, they gave you a little taste, enough to get you into the theater where they actually capitalize on your ticket. Does that make sense? So it's the same thing. So promoting events is, you can always measure by a thermostat. The thermostat actually controls the temperature of your actual business. So the more people that are getting paid and promoted at events, the higher your actual thermostat goes, the more heat you have. This business is all about momentum. See, most people, when they sign someone up, they sign them up and that's when they actually, they get excited. They celebrate, like it's a Super Bowl. But they don't even know that, what professionals in this industry do. When they sign someone up, that's what they know, that's like preseason. Right. That's when it's time to get in the trenches and actually help them get going. You know what I mean? Like Grace, for example, the reason why her and her husband Chris are doing so well in the company with preferred customers and signing people up and agents. Well, when we signed them up, they said $1,450. Well, we already own a traditional business. They do really well for themselves, right? But they understood $1,450, like that's a drop in the hat to start a business, right? That's what Chris said. That's it? $1,450? And their spa parties are like 100% sign up. Everyone that comes to their spa party signs up. How many of you had so far? 3 spa parties. How many preferred customers do you have? 14 preferred customers. How much free product did you get this month? $400, right? And now agents are signing up left and right, right? It's crazy. So your thermostat's really high, right? Does that make sense? So getting people paid and promoted. How many new people can you help hit Superstar? Which Superstar? Helping an agent on your left, having an agent on your right that are premium or above, right? And then you get your 4 preferred customers. Even if it's in 28 days, we give you an iPad for free or $250. If it's more than 28 days, who cares? You get a $100 bonus, and you still get enroller bonuses from the kit, from the actual demo kits. Lauren and I didn't hit Superstar. We didn't have it then. Do you think we cared? No, absolutely not. Right? But it's a great promotion, So if you didn't actually hit Superstar, it's okay. Guess what? You can still do it. So records the temperature and the amount of, actually, from Superstar to the actual convention. So every conversation I'm having now is just about convention. Why? Because we've heard, see, it's funny because the name of the company being Secret, no one in the company can keep a secret. None. So this past week in Thailand, or 10 days, we heard so much stuff that's happening at convention. It's crazy. The announcements that are coming out, it's just been phenomenal. And it's just, I wish I could tell, but I'm not going to be the guy that gets in trouble for that. So I'm going to be the movie trailer, and the movie's going to be convention, and you just have to be there. Right? So you see how I did that, by the way? Right? So here's the deal. Here's what I know is that convention is like it's the end all be all, and it just convention. I mean, it changed our lives. It's we signed up in secret. We actually started in secret a few weeks. Some of you guys remember that. We were like convention. We're like, man, that's like next month. Like I don't know. I know I need to be there, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. I know some people booked one-way flights to get there. I know someone actually was Huntington Beach was the first convention. There was a guy there that actually slept in the lifeguard stand on the beach because he didn't have money for a hotel. Remember that, Keith? That person's a silver agent now in the company. Crazy. So I know, like, it just, hey, you got to be there. It's amazing. So how can you build for the local event system? Why? Because the local event system is what builds into the actual regionals that builds into the actual convention. You know what I mean? It's almost like protecting your backyard. So, for example, you create momentum. How do you do that? Well, sit-downs and spa parties that funnel into SU, or inviting people to the actually weekly briefing, which was right before this training. Getting people in front of the information. Why? Because recruiting is everything in this business. It's the lifeblood of this business. You know, one of my mentors, A.L. Williams, some of you guys have heard of Primerica, right? Before it was Primerica, it was actually A.L. Williams. It was the largest insurance company in the world. They started actually out of Buckhead down in Atlanta, and very successful. Now Citibank bought them. Now they're on their own again. But he has an audio. It's called The Art of Recruiting. If you haven't heard it yet, it's amazing. I actually listen to it in the gym. It fires me up in the gym, like a personal development. It's crazy. But he says recruiting is the lifeblood of your business. Without it, you die. So how do you create momentum? It's very hard to create, but it's easy to lose. So when you sign up someone, I hate to even use the word. Let's not use recruit. Let's say when you sponsor someone, right? When you sponsor someone in this business, it's almost like scoring a touchdown. Instead of dancing like all these people do in the NFL, whatever. But, like I love Barry Sanders. Why? Because he scored so many touchdowns, he never danced. He just gave the ball back to the referee. You know what I mean? So instead of celebrating for getting one agent sponsoring one person, that's when the work starts. Because it's your job to get them paid and promoted, to hit superstar. Does that make sense? So, creating momentum, duplicating wow parties, right? That's all you do, wow parties. Wow parties, wow parties, wow parties. Like Lauren said, when we first started, we didn't know anything else. We didn't know our login. We actually messed it up really, really bad. They came in, they were like, what are you guys doing? We had no idea. We were just throwing product on people, right? I remember when Keith and Dominic and Curtis, when they came over to our house, they had no idea what they were coming over for. I just was so jacked up, I said, you don't have a choice. You have to be at my house. We invited them the day before. Because some people say, oh, well, I'm going to get involved in this company. I'm going to have my wow party next month. That seems like a good time. Well, by next month, you already quit. Have your wow party, this week. What's tomorrow, Thursday? Well, it's already Thursday in Thailand, but, here it's Thursday. Have it Friday night, Because that's how you build momentum. Because there is no next month without tomorrow, right? So you can have spa parties, and by next month, you can have a bunch of bronze agents that are having spa parties. And you can already be on the way to silver. We have some people that hit silver in their first month in this business. Why? Because they don't wait a month to have a spa party when they can do it tomorrow. That can lead into spa parties Friday, and then the whole weekend you have. Does that make sense? So it's all about momentum. That's how you build momentum. It's hard to create, but it's easy to lose, right? So that's why you got to step on it. That's why when you get to the end zone, you have to act like you've been there before. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, great. So how can you build a local event system to sustain momentum? It's just getting people paid and promoted. We call it the belief check, right? So when someone's brand new, they're at their lowest level of knowledge, but their highest anxiety level, right? They're excited. They're ignorant on fire, if you will. They don't know much about it, right? Like I just talked to a guy actually out on the phone in Arkansas, and he's excited, seeing information. He's a bartender, but he's like, I'm nervous, I'm excited, I know this is going to work, but I'm a little nervous about what it takes to get involved. Why? Because if I'm not behind the bar serving drinks, I'm not getting paid. I said, yeah, you're also listening to everyone's problems on the other side of the bar. I said, how do you like being a psychologist, serving beers, And but he said, I'm not living the lifestyle I want to live. And I said, well, for $600 to $1,500 to get involved with our company, we've spent nights in Vegas that we spent that money and don't even remember. And he said, well, I've never been to Vegas. I said, well, get involved with us. Let's get you paid and promoted, get you that belief check, and then we'll worry about Vegas later. Does that make sense? Yeah. So getting them paid and promoted. That first belief check is critical. I don't even care how small it is. It could be $20. A check in the mail is like, oh my God, this is real. When my cousins, my uncle, and my negative, neighbors, when they told me this was a scam, well, guess what? I got a $20 check. They actually paid me. It's crazy, right? So you want to get people paid and promoted right away. It's like a 72-hour rule. It's funny, in this industry, they call it the 72-hour rule before people quit and they join witness protection, right? So it's crazy because they had all these dreams. The guy, excuse me, was talking about living his dream lifestyle with his family and traveling and not having to work and, tending bar for the rest of his life. So he's talking about this lifestyle, right? But then he's going to go talk to 10 people and 9 are going to say no. He's never going to get the 10th person that's going to lead him to 100 more. Isn't that crazy? In 72 hours, right? Or they're going to put a link on Facebook, just secretdirect.com/Bradshaw, and expect everyone on their Facebook page to just sign up magically. It's not going to happen, right? That's actually a good way to ruin your network because people start hiding you, right? So you get people promoted from superstar. As soon as you get someone promoted to superstar, they're going to give themselves the permission to go bronze, and then royale, and then silver, right? Like I look at Sam when he first came on board with our company, and then I look at him today, you know, doing presentations, right? Doing overviews, doing the webinar last night. You know what I mean? You know? Who owns a traditional business already makes 7 figures. You know, his business already makes 7 figures, right? But that's not passive. Does that make sense? So I look at him where he is today, right? But before he was silver, he had to give himself permission to hit these other ranks. Does that make sense? So when you get someone a belief check, they're going to give themselves permission to make more, right? But all of a sudden it becomes real, right? Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. So, advance momentum. Build once a month a regional with 100 people. So, for example, at regional, you can always measure whether your business is growing or dying by the amount of people on your team that's actually at the event. Right? So think about it. You hit star. What does it take to hit star? 2 agents, right? So if you have 4 people at the event, would you say your business is growing or dying? Growing, right? That's a good thing. If you have 1 agent at the regional on Sunday, would you say your business is growing or dying? It's never staying the same, right? You're either growing or dying, never staying the same, okay? So you can always measure by how many people you have at the next event, promoting from event to event to event. Yes? That's just the way it is. So for me right now, my plan, what I would like to do is start inviting people to see information tomorrow. And maybe it's online, maybe it's booking a sit down with them, right? Actually, I talked to a girl today who I actually met years ago and just followed up with her. You know, she's at a different point in her life and she's ready to look at information. But actually, Siri booked the appointment for me months ago to call her again this morning. So Siri is a very good assistant. She's free, right? So I called her and I tried to get her to book an appointment tomorrow to sit down with her. She's like, I got to work. You know, it works retail hours, not available. What about Friday? Well, Friday, you know, same thing, retail. Saturday, Sunday, same thing. Monday's my day off. What are you doing Monday? So I booked it tried to get from event to event to event to event. Does that make sense? Because think about if I met with her tomorrow and signed her up, right? We could have a spa party Friday or Saturday. And from there, we could actually, you know, we could promote Sunday's regional with Casey Call. Because I know everyone we get in front of Casey Call is going to sign up. It's inevitable, right? But if you don't get people there, you know, it's a false expectation. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, but, you know, Monday is Monday. So, but I also called another girl who actually worked at the gym and no longer works there. And I was supposed to meet with her tomorrow, but she canceled. So it's just a catch-22, you know? You just never know. That's why you got to make up in numbers for just the weird people that are out there, right? That flake or whatever it might be. So, but the goal actually is to get 100 people from your team at convention. If you get 100 people from your team at convention, you are set for life. That's the magic number in network marketing. 100 people. They say you'll make $1,000 a year for every person you get at convention. I don't know who they is, but the numbers have been pretty accurate actually from what we've seen. Does that make sense? It's crazy. It's a picture of a regional. It's pretty cool, I guess. So, multiply momentum. Secret University, right? Secret University is the name of the game. In most companies nowadays in network marketing, the training is the same every week. It's actually typically mostly just a briefing, an overview. It's the same thing. With ours, it's a different topic every week because we want to develop people. Why? Because it goes along with the behavior of our comp plan, yes? Right? So Secret University. And actually, coming out of convention, they're just, look, if you're building a house, right? You want to wire the house, right? With cable and, you know, with wires so you can actually get electricity, right? We don't use candles anymore to light our house, right? You know, it's a new day, a new age. So when the house is finished, you turn on the light switch, guess what? The power's on, right? So the first 2 years in Secret, we've done so well without a system, you know? If you ask 2 people how they do spa parties, no 2 people are the same. None, right? So I know other companies out there with inferior products. Actually, the product doesn't even matter. But they've been working on the system for 2 years before they even launched. And they just found a product that, they can push. And they did $100 million their first year in this industry. That's a success, whether you like it or not. Why? Because their system is immaculate. There's no flaws. In secret, our products are just amazing, but the system has flaws, right? I mean, we know this. This is not a, it's no secret, right? But we're popping so many success stories because our products are so awesome. We have people that just work hard. And the compensation plan allows you to develop people and get paid for it. But imagine coming to convention where we're actually hitting the light switch and the entire thing's being unrolled. Does that make sense? I'm telling you guys, it's like we were talking to Betty the other day, Lauren was, and Betty says, I know we're network marketers and I'm promoting to you right now, but throw that out the window. I'm just being your friend and I'm telling you, this is going to be the secret convention that you remember forever. This is going to be the one. That's what she told Lauren. So it wasn't like she was talking to like our entire team on a conference call promoting. She's telling Lauren, like, put the co-founder and diamond agent crap aside, friend to friend, this is the one, So when someone like that speaks, like, you listen, right?
It'll be there.
Yeah, I know. So the top 10 non-negotiable reasons why we want to be saying right now, I am committed 100% today to be at the next national event. Number one, that wasn't necessarily a good Tim Herr voice, right? Tim Herr is out of his mind, by the way. But he's an amazing guy. Lead by example. Your team will do what you do, not what you say. Right? So here's the thing. I won't tell you guys to do something that I won't do. Right? You can't tell someone to do the thing that you're not going to do. Like, I can't tell you to show up at regional if I'm not going to be there. That's weird. So when I look at you and I'm like, look, be at regional on Sunday and bring people with you, that's because I'm going to be there and bringing people with me. I expect you to do that. Because most of the people that everyone we recruited, we know why they're in the business. We know their dreams. We know, we work backwards. We know what they want. So when they say they want it, you lay out the plan and you tell them what to do. They either do it and they show up and they get it, or they don't and they won't. But there's no false expectation, right? It's out in front of you. So I'm saying, lead by example. Be at the regional on Sunday and bring guests. Actually the DMV put the cash bonuses out there. We're not even saying your guests have to sign up. We're just saying just put them in the room. Because we know that the numbers take care of themselves. When you put people in front of the information, they sign up. And we're giving you an extra incentive on top of the comp plan to do that. Right? Does that make sense? Number 2, national events raise agents' belief. So they give you a new life and a time extension. Because think about this. If you've done a spa party and you sign someone up, right, and they never come to SU, right? They never go to regional. They never go to convention. How long do you actually think they're going to stay around? Are they treating it like a hobby or a business? And isn't it paying them like a hobby or a business? Right? Because actually it's costing them like a hobby, right? Which is crazy because think about this. Like Chris and Grace, for example. They own own a towing company that's very successful, been around for a long time, right? Chris's dad actually works crazy hard. I know Chris since middle school, actually before that. And, works crazy hard. And, but think about this. Think about if they opened up a tow truck company and they actually didn't have tow trucks. How would that work out? Think about if he didn't go to training on how to actually operate those tow trucks. Would you want him towing you? No. Absolutely not, right? So you're a secret agent, right? Secret agent. So if you didn't have product or you didn't come to regional or a secret university to get the knowledge to go out there and actually apply it, because applied knowledge is what's really counts, not the actual knowledge itself, right? How long would you be a secret agent? Right? Just long enough for someone to actually try to get you to SU and American Idol or The Voice came on that night. And you're like, well, I'd rather watch the show versus coming to an actual event, right? It's crazy, right? Why? Because then you didn't have to buy a tow truck to open that business, right? You just had to get some product, right? So that's why these events give you a new life and a time extension, okay? Number 3, they strengthen relationships. The commitment level is crazy. Thank you. So like Jamal Brown, for example. Jamal, you guys know Jamal? right? New father. He's in his, early 20s. Awesome guy. I love Jamal. Amazing. Well, he is, he hit superstar in like 2 weeks. And, new dad, works really, really hard. And so he came to the last convention, which is the only reason why he's still here. And actually has team here. And that's the only reason you're here is because he stayed around, because he went to the convention. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been introduced because he would have quit, right? So you think about this. When he went to convention, he literally was like leaning on us, crying, saying, I can't believe I almost missed this and didn't go. And you know what? He was thanking us profusely. Like, it was crazy. You know, he's like, this is going to change my family's life. And he told me all about his new son. You know, the information there just set him on fire. It was just crazy. But it strengthened our relationship. Because now I know why he's doing the business, so I won't let him make an excuse. Does that make sense? He registered last night for the convention. I called him up. I said, remember last convention? When you talked about what you wanted for your son and for your wife, you know? Or baby mama, as Lauren puts it. Right? So I talked about that. I said, man, this is the convention that's going to change that. It's going to give you everything you want. Because I know that. Sign up for convention, register on the spot. Does that make sense? Crazy. Courage and commitment are contagious. Courage is contagious. When a brave man takes a stand, the spine of others often stiffen. Right? So it takes courage, right? And it takes commitment. But it's contagious, right? So when my family, my brother and sister, my dad laughed at me, you know, oh, you're selling skincare. When Curtis's dad said, what are you going to sell next? Barbies? Right? Right? So when they laughed at us, we had to be courageous. We had to be committed to saying, you know what? We're going to do this in spite of you, even though it's for you. You know? So now my family doesn't say that. You know, even though I miss birthdays, right? Even though we miss birthdays, you know, we got ridiculed for missing events. You know, this is all stuff that my nephews don't even remember because they were young. You know? They had no idea I missed their first birthday. They're not going to hold it against me. But when they got that report card a couple months ago and they got really good grades, guess who took them shopping at Toys R Us? Does that make sense? So do you think they remember that now being 6 and 7 years old? Or do you think they remember the 1-year-old birthday? Does that make sense? So I'm telling you, sometimes it takes us being courageous and being committed because we're doing it for the same people that are actually, you know, trying to hold us down. Because they're living in the now instead of living in the future. Does that make sense? It's just different, you know? But here's the thing about it. We've been programmed for so long, but through going through elementary school, middle school, high school, some college, you know? And we've been programmed to live in the present instead of the future. Does that make sense? Most people actually spend more time planning their vacations than they do where they're going to be in their life. Right? It's crazy, isn't it? Maybe it's not crazy. Actually, you know what? It's crazy for us because we're entrepreneurs and we know what's going to happen, right? Because we're here and we're actually planning ahead. Most people don't plan ahead. They're reactive instead of proactive, right? But for the average person, that's normal. Crazy is actually going to a convention for one of those things. That's crazy, right? Isn't that interesting? So, you recognize the power that national events make you and your team unstoppable. They just do. You know? It's funny because one of my mentors said that, you know, up until you actually go to an actual convention, you're in secret. But when you go to the national convention, secret's in you. You can't get it out. So when we went to the first convention, it was game over at that point. You could not tell me it didn't work. It was like I had like a bulletproof vest on, and all the bullets were actually nose, and they were just bouncing off. At my time, who do you know, right? It didn't matter what their excuse was, because my reasons were stronger than their excuses. Does that make sense? And the people that said no, I just thanked them because if I convinced them, I would have to convince them to be successful, and that's a waste of time too, right? So we need to stop worrying about the people that are saying no and start looking for the people that are actually looking for us. Does that make sense? because they're out there, you know? What if we made all the nationals mandatory, right? The environment can never be replicated or duplicated. So here's the thing about convention. Once we go there, we get all the information, we take the notes, but we can't relay that to you. We can't come back home. You just can't do it. We can call you and be all fired up, right? But think about this. Everything I'm saying here tonight, right? Hopefully it delivers some value. But your team that didn't come tonight, right? Because just, people just do what they want to do. You can't take that home. And even if you do, you can only give them a certain percentage, right? Because that's just the law that's just the law of the way it is. I mean, it's like the telephone game. If I told Curtis something, he told DeLauren, who told to Devin, and we went around the room, by the time it got over here through Tracy, back to Dominic, it would be completely different. Trust me, we've tried this at conventions. Never works. Never works. Especially when you're dealing with Spanish people. Like my good friend Victor from New York. He's Dominican. He messed it up every time. Every time. I can't wait to see him this weekend in New York. But you just can't bring it home. You can't. Right? So the fire is at convention. And we just bring the gas and we throw it on. It's amazing. So, but what if they weren't mandatory? So think about this. What if you opened up a real estate brokerage, right? Like what's a real estate company? Keller Williams or something, right? If you opened up one of those, they have conventions every year, don't they? Yep. Wouldn't you actually have to go? Right? A regional, for example, like this weekend in Annapolis on Sunday. Right? If there was a Keller Williams regional, wouldn't you have to go? Why? It's required. And because you spent so much money getting licensed and you're vested, right? So you have to go. But like I said, the barrier to entry in a home-based business is so small, people treat it like a nickel and dime business, right? Well, think about this. Making $50,000+ a year as a 23-year-old passively, right? Think about being a business owner and having that come in whether you work or not, right? I know some business owners that aren't even profitable, right? It takes, 3 to 5 years? Because you got to go so much in debt, right, to even get the business started. Isn't that crazy? Right? So it's just a different mindset. National events build vision, right? They show the bigger vision of where we're going, of where the company is actually, where we're taking it, the new countries that are opening, and things like that, the new programs. I'm telling you, the people that are actually at the events, the regional this weekend, and the national next month, I'm telling you, you're just going to be, you come back and it's like, I can't even explain it. You're just going to be on fire. You know what I mean? It's going to be, people are going to get around you, and the energy you're going to give off, I mean, people, if they don't sign up, they just weren't meant for Secret. Because even being in here in this room, when you invite guests around Secret, the community, it's tough not to sign up. Just because of the positivity and the positive energy that we put off, right? I always tell people, if it doesn't feel good in your gut, don't sign up. It's probably not good for you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Just because of the way the company is. So, leaders find a way to make it happen. MIH, make it happen. Be a first-minute person, not a last-minute type person. Right? Most people make the decision to wait, right? So, I know people that are going to wait and book their flight the week of convention. Do you think they're going to spend more money than they would if they booked their flight this week? So what's the problem? Well, the problem is, if they book their flight now, right, the difference from what they would pay now versus a flight, in a couple weeks, actually could pay for the hotel stay or maybe even food, right? So it could actually take care of the entire cost of the trip. Why? From being proactive and making it happen, being a first-minute person. Do it because it works, right? Without exceptions, every leader builds national event to national event. Event to event to event to event. We build from spa party to spa party to spa party to spa party to SU to SU to SU to SU, right? To regional to regional to regional to regional, right? That's why we sell tickets to the next event. And then we do the same thing from convention. That's why at convention, they get you registered for the next convention at convention. And you actually get the cheapest price. Right? To be proactive. Does that make sense? To lock yourself in. Why? Because when you do that, you'll figure out the way to get there, right? Whether it's taking a one-way flight or whether it's sleeping in a lifeguard stand. Whatever happens, right? I know people actually that sleep 15 to a room because you're never in the room anyway. It's just a place to put your clothes and change. You know? But the main thing is that they're actually at convention, which is most important, right? Passion and excitement is caught, not taught. The number one most powerful weapon is a human soul on fire. I'm telling you guys, when you light yourself on fire, people will come from miles around to watch you burn. They want to figure out what's going on, right? Because do you know why? People are attracted to people that don't have time. People are attracted to people that don't want to give them time, like dating. People are attracted to people that don't want them, right? Come on, I'm not the only one, right? Thanks, Susie. Happy birthday, by the way. So, that's commitment, by the way, right? Commitment is being here to SU on her birthday. Because we'll celebrate after at the Green Turtle. So what I'm saying is, people are attracted to people that don't want to give them any time. When you're on fire, people want to figure out what's going on. It's like fear of loss. They actually feel like they're missing out on something, right? They're like, oh my God, well, I don't want to be left behind. You know? How do you do that? Well, by being on fire and saying less to more people. Right? Spending less time with more people. And just going through numbers. They say amateurs recruit, but professionals sort. Right? So, you know, when you first start in secret, you almost allow everyone to join your business. You need everyone. You make your list and you'll take everyone. Right? But when you start climbing through the ranks, you start allowing people to join your business because you pick and choose who you want to work with, right? It's just the way it is. It's network marketing, right? Think about this. This is crazy, you know, and Joe Valenzuela says it best. He says that this industry is the only industry that will take anyone, right? Anyone. We'll take the same people that McDonald's won't hire to flip burgers. So they'll get rejected at a fast food restaurant. They'll get rejected at, you know, any job, but we'll recruit them. And then we get mad when they quit. But even McDonald's wouldn't even hire them. But we need them. Isn't that interesting? Right? So don't get mad. Let people go. Let people fall where they will, right? Stop needing people and start allowing people to join you, right? Because when you allow them and you take the time away, you create that fear of loss. They need you. You don't need them. So spend less time with more people. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah. Be on fire. Be on purpose. Because then people will try to figure out what you're doing because they don't want to miss out, right? Next. So national event, right? It's sort of like it's like a go-kart track, if you will, right? So national event, and in between is the other activities, right? Like the spa parties, like the sit-downs, you know, the webinars, the regionals, you know, everything in between the activity that's just going to get you back around to the home base, which is the national event. It's like the pit stop, right? So all we're doing is going from national event to national event to national event to national event. That's it. Everything in between is building into national event. It's like the Super Bowl, right? So think about it, your favorite team, right? Your favorite NFL team. What if there was no Super Bowl or no playoffs and they just played for fun? Do you think people would get fired up? There's nothing to run into. There is no Super Bowl champion because there's no Super Bowl. What if there was never, you know, any type of competitive system, right? There was no recognition. Because you know people love recognition, right? They love it. You know? So what if there was no recognition for, you know, running into the season, you wouldn't even have preseason. You wouldn't need it. You would just start the season. Think about if they rewarded you for mediocrity. Like the kids these days in school. They tell them good job for doing nothing. Well, you wonder why we have a bunch of adults that are doing nothing. right? Because there's no reward system. Does that make sense? So we are actually rewarding people for building into these events and getting paid and promoted. Does that make sense? That's why I love network marketing, because it promotes or exposes you. Either you do the activity to get the results or you don't and you won't. But if it doesn't work for you, it's not the system. It's not secret. The only variable, because we all have the same product, same comp plan, right? Same support. Don't we all have the same secret university every Wednesday night, right? So what's the only variable? The same people that McDonald's won't hire, right? Us, right? Isn't that crazy? So that's why we build into event and event, because we know that through the system, we can actually develop people to become better than what they were, right? The same people, like we never finished college, you know? Working for a glass company and me working in the mortgage industry, right? So we don't have degrees, Most companies don't hire people without degrees these days. Actually, you can be a server, and the actual test to get the job at the serving test, to actually get hired at a restaurant, is actually more prestigious than the SATs now. Isn't that crazy? To get a job, you got to take a test. But you have to have a degree to get the job, right? But network marketing doesn't have those type of barriers. The entry is so small, right? So you look at that. Why? Because we plugged into the system that works in spite of us, not because of us. All we have to do is plug into it and promote and plug other people into it. The same system. Does that make sense? So how can you take advantage of the national? How can you take advantage of the regional? Do you guys know how? Before, during, and after? Preparation. So my old football coach back in the day used to say, prior proper planning prevents poor performance. We sucked in high school, by the way. No. We went to rival high schools. You're not getting ice cream, by the way. Especially not now. Awareness during. So preparation. Preparation would be what? Making calls to promoting the regional on Sunday, right? See, because we can't get people registered for the convention that aren't in the business yet. That would be weird, wouldn't it? Hey, listen, I got this convention coming up. I can't even tell you the name of the company, but I think you should go to Salt Lake City with me. Do you think they're going to sign up for secret? They're going to block your call and defriend you from Facebook, right? But you can promote to come out and see the overview at the regional this weekend. Or you can actually have a spa party, maybe on Thursday or Friday night, maybe even Saturday. Schedule 2 spa parties for Saturday if you want. And then from there, you can promote the regional. That would be becoming prepared, right? Being prepared for that. Building into the actual regional. Not waiting for the regional, right? Start inviting tomorrow for the regional if you're not having a spa party, right? Awareness during. What would that mean? That would mean actually coming to the event, participating in the event, right? Laughing at all Curtis's corny jokes, right? Participating, taking notes, right? It's crazy to me that a lot of people don't take notes in the events, but then they expect to go out and perform, and they only, like I said, they take a percentage of what they actually even learn. And then we wonder why things don't happen, And I mean, that's a challenge. Taking notes, like you should review those notes. Like Lauren and I actually have a whole bookcase at home of all the notes we've ever taken in network marketing, all the binders. Because we can go back and research that stuff. Because it was said from someone that actually has a lot bigger stack than what we have, and we want what they have, so we got to do what they do. So it would be a good idea to follow their teachings, which we wrote down and we can always reference, right? And then the discipline after to apply the knowledge that you actually get, right? Because they say, another false, another lie, quite honestly, is knowledge is power. It's not true, right? Like I know a lot of smart people that graduated with me in high school, but they still live at home with their parents. They're 30 plus years old. Why? Because they're enabled. They're smart, They were in the top of their class. They're like professional derelicts. They're my friends. They told me secret was dumb. You know, they still live in the parents' basement. I can't figure it out. So being prepared, being aware, and being disciplined. That's how you take advantage of the actual event system, right? Yes? You guys know? Yes. Good. So, preparation mindset. What do I want this regional to do for me? What do I want this national to do for me? So you can take out whatever the actual information is, whether it's regional, SU, you know, whether it's convention, whatever it might be. You can take that word out and these notes still apply. Make sure my team feels the heartbeat of Secret. They're engaged. They're leaning forward, right? Because when you lean forward, you actually feel the energy. When you lean backwards, the energy is going over you, right? Sharpen your skills, right? Skills make labor more valuable because you're doing the same activity. You're always doing the same activity, but the skill you get increases your actual ratio, right? It's just like getting in a batting cage. It would probably be a good idea to get into a batting cage before you go against a major league pitcher, right? Because if you spend the hours and the time in there swinging the bat, you're bound to hit the ball. And the more times you swing the bat, the more times you're going to hit the ball. Does that make sense? So the more sit-downs you do, the more information, the more times you plug in, the better your results are going to be at those sit-downs. You're going to spend the same amount of time at the sit-downs, right? Wouldn't you? It's going to take the same amount of time to demo the products, right? And to go over the information. But what's different? The results. Well, how do you increase the results? You increase your skill, right? That's why we love Mission 90 for those, how many of you guys are running Mission 90, right? For the free cruise, right? We got one winner so far, right? Of the free cruise. So how do you, and here's the thing about it. It wasn't even a results-driven contest. It's 90 presentations before convention. Who can do that? Anyone? And we weren't even saying you have to sign people up. But we know that people can't be so bad that 90 presentations, they won't sign anyone up. The numbers are just like 0 out of 90 just isn't going to happen. It can't happen. It's physically impossible. Right? But we know that if people are doing 90 presentations, they're going to be in front of the room doing presentations. Why? Because they practiced the presentations 90 times. Does that make sense? Book appointments. So after the event, the excitement continues. So on the way home from the event, right? So on the way home from tonight, right? You call people, it's 9 o'clock. So what if you called 10 people on the way home and you're like, listen, I know it's late. I'm sorry, I just couldn't wait. I couldn't hold this information until tomorrow. That's why I wanted to call you tonight. I got this event going on Sunday in Annapolis for this part-time business project I'm working on. It's very lucrative, and I think you'd be all over it. I can't promise anything. I don't even know what's for you. I'm just asking you as my friend to come take a look. Right? Or even start the conversation with, hey, I know it's late. I'm just so excited. What are you doing on Sunday? Nothing. Because when you ask them, they say nothing. You know you got them, right? Right? I'm so excited. I'm working this project, this business project part-time. I think it's very lucrative. I think you'd be all over it. I can't promise anything, but I need you to come check this out with me on Sunday. How hard is that? Because when you leave here, you'll be excited. But tomorrow, you're not going to be excited. Friday, you're going to want to, not even come to regional on Sunday, right? Because life just happens to everyone. See, this is the time now, running into convention next month, where we have to distract ourselves from distractions. You have to minimize distractions, right? You know? So when my family calls me and they say, I need you to do this, that, or the other, well, guess what? You already know that I can't do it because National's right around the corner, and I'm 100% focused on National. I love you, but the reason I'm doing this is for you, and actually in spite of you, but it's because of you that I want to do this. So I just need this time running into convention. So you need to handle it. Right? It's a different mindset. So book appointments while you're excited. On the way home from regional, right? On the way home from regional, we know there's webinars Monday through Thursday. So on the way home from regional Sunday, you can get people on the webinar Monday nights at 8 and 10 o'clock on livevipevent.com, right? So could you imagine if you signed someone up from the webinar that you called on Sunday, right? You promoted the webinar Monday, they signed up and had a spa party over the weekend, and maybe you ran across a Curtis Honeycutt or Dominic and Whitney Curry. Would that be a good thing? But what if we waited until Monday, and Monday rolls around, and guess what? We're not fired up because it's Monday, and everyone hates Monday. So we're not going to make calls to promote the Monday night webinar. So your tone is different, right, when you're calling people. Does that make sense? People only care about your excitement. They don't care about your knowledge. The challenge is over the phone, we give them too much knowledge that they're not excited. So they're judging us based off the information over the phone instead of the actual information, right? We always use the example of Forrest Gump. If I tried to call you and explain Forrest Gump, you would not be fired up, right? It's about a guy that's mentally, unstable, challenged, right, is the right word, right? He loves his mom. He plays football. He's really, really good. He has a best friend named Bubba that gets killed, but they start this shrimping business and very successful. Yeah, like you would never ever, and by the way, he's telling this whole story on a park bench. Would you go see that movie? Absolutely not. Yeah, loves chocolates, right? Would you go see that movie? Absolutely not. But if you did the trailer talking about it's the best movie ever, every time it's on TV, you watch it, you don't care what you're doing, you push aside everything else, and you watch that movie because it's an American classic. I can't even believe you haven't seen it so far. Why am I the first one that's telling you? You've never heard of Forrest Gump? You would watch the movie, wouldn't you? That's the thing, we got to create value, right? The only reason why people aren't paying attention or doing what we're doing, or coming out to an event, is because we haven't bumped ourselves high up enough on their priority list. Everything people do, there's a priority attached to it. And if you want to bump yourself higher on the priority, you got to learn how to promote. Does that make sense? Yeah. Take advantage of specials on products. So at regionals, we give away products, but at conventions, they just do stupid stuff. They give away like $4,000 worth of product for like $1,000. And they actually will reset you as a bronze and allow you to go superstar again. Crazy stuff. I don't even know how they do that, actually. I don't think the company makes money at convention from the specials. I think they just create momentum. I don't know. It's nuts how they do that. It's weird. So take advantage of the specials. One of the things that we do in the Bradshaw organization is that we actually call home and tell everyone about those specials. Why? Because we allow them to take advantage of it. Can you edit that, by the way? Because you're not supposed to do that. So at events, people make a true decision in the moment of the decision that their destiny is shaped there. Does that make sense? That's what I'm talking about, that, right now you're in secret. How many of you guys have never been to one of our conventions? Look around. Right now you are in secret. You're in secret. Congratulations, we love you. How many of you guys have been to a convention? Would you admit that secret is in you? Can't get it out. Non-negotiable. Can't tell us. It's just that's where we realize that, like, this is it. There is nothing else. That's where you equip yourself with the protection. So those no's bounce right off of you. Does that make sense? So they raise your belief system. We know that people will not be, they won't be afraid to join us. They'll be scared not to join us. The recruiting, the momentum that comes out of convention from recruiting is crazy. You see people that have never recruited anyone in their life. They just show up. They're professional meeting goers. Tim said me. That's not true, Tim. That's not you. They'll come out of convention so fired up, they'll recruit 5 or 10 people. Why? Because they made the decision right there to change their life. Does that make sense? Because it's just a decision. There's a time you sign up and there's a time you start. Right? It doesn't matter when you signed up. Lauren and I signed up 8 months before we started. Trust me, I never intended to work secret. Didn't like it, didn't care. The products grew on us. And we went out and saw the operation, and I was like, it was weird. I was like, oh my God, I was wrong. It was crazy. Someone really doesn't want ice cream. Someone really doesn't want ice cream. Did you get that? You guys all heard that, right? Perfect. Thank you, Uncle Hunter. So, here's what, I mean, this is just a preparation checklist. Honestly, I mean, here's what you need to know. What? Fresh haircut. Look at this. Large bottle of Act Right. Deodorant is not always good. Common sense and respect. That's a good one. iPod with personal development, right? So it's crazy. One of the top income earners in the entire industry of relationship marketing, he makes about 1.5, 1.8 million a month. His mindset training, some of you guys know what I'm talking about, is phenomenal. And he's not a big reader, but he listens to personal development nonstop. He actually goes to sleep with it in his ear because he said his subconscious is never sleeping. Crazy. Personal development is key. Trust me. Water, 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 and more water. Be hydrated. Hotel. Where is it? Oh, hotel confirmation or tent and sleeping bags if you're camping out in a lifeguard stand. So, what can I do during the event that will give me a competitive advantage? Take pictures and document the event. So if you notice, Tim Herr takes pictures nonstop, right? It's tough to be around Tim Herr and not have a good time. He just injects you with confidence, and he loves everyone. He documents everything. He takes, when he was here, how many pictures did he take? Probably like 300 or 400 of our regional. He was doing the regional. He was like the keynote speaker. He takes pictures all the time, But that's the thing about it is because pictures, I'm telling you guys, when you upload pictures at convention, right? I've had people hit me up trying to figure out what we're doing because they see everyone having a good time in the pictures. When they saw us all walking across the stage and people were taking pictures of us, and they see, the big stage and the crowd in the audience, they're like, what in the world? These people are walking across the stage and people are cheering for them. I don't get cheered in my cubicle. Like, what are you doing? Right? People want to figure out what you're doing. Why? Because they see it. I promise you, people are watching you on social media, whether you like it or not. So whatever you're putting on there, good or bad, is basically, people's whole lives are on. You can just look on someone's Facebook page and see their life. You know what I mean? So that's why we're always selling lifestyle on Facebook. Very rarely do we ever post something about join my business, because it doesn't work. If you say, join my business, I'm looking for people that want income, check out this website, it's just going to get you more people that want to block you. Because everyone's pitching an opportunity. Or everyone knows someone that's failed in an opportunity, and they're letting that hold them back, right? But when you're selling the lifestyle, people want a better lifestyle, right? So when you're selling the lifestyle, and people are looking at you, I'm just telling you, they're going to ask you what you do, okay? So arrive early. Because actually, and you think about it too, most of the actual decisions for our guests are made actually out in the lobbies when they're introduced to other people that are having success. Why? Because facts tell, but stories sell, right? So when I talk about how Dominic and Whitney, how Dominic is a pastor, Whitney was able to walk away from the government. They have 2 wonderful children at home that are crazy, but they're amazing, right? Josh and Christian are awesome. But I start talking about their lifestyle, and then I introduce people to them out in the lobby. They want to be a part of that before they even know what it is, right? So if we're there in the lobby and we're all excited, people are going to be freaked out about why are these people excited? I haven't even seen any information yet. But it's going to put them in a good mood coming into the actual environment. Does that make sense? So compete with my team to take the most notes because it'll help you absorb the experience. I'm telling you guys, when you write down every detail, it's a good thing. You can always go backwards and write and get rid of the stuff you don't need. But take notes. Get good seats and stay in the event, right? So get good seats. I'm talking about when you come in, you should be funneling up to the front seats. Not sitting out in the back, and hanging out. and things like that. I mean, let other people do that, Fill up the front seats. People are going to want to fill those up. But as the leaders in here, right, if you're running to the front seats, what are other people going to do? They're going to follow you. Why? Because they're missing out on something, just like I said, right? So, during every break, attack the phones. Why? Because like I said, that's when you're excited, okay? So, register now for the next convention. Here's what I want to do too. What's up? Okay. Here's what we're going to do is, so is everyone in here on in the Bradshaw organization? Yeah, I think so, yeah. Not everyone? Okay. So we're going to do yeah. What we're going to do is, and it doesn't matter. We'll take care of it. So for the first 5 people that register for convention tonight, we're going to subsidize the cost. So, but it has to be in tonight, okay? So the first 5 people that do it tonight, instead of $180, you pay $99. Wow. We'll pay the difference. All right? Here's why. I had challenges before when I first got into this business, and people, they paid it forward to me. You know what I mean? And like Joe, when he came out, we didn't have our kit right away. And he brought his stuff with him to do our spa parties. You know what I mean? So it's just a way to pay it forward. It's a decision, for sure. But, $80 is a lot of money? No, absolutely not. But it could be your entire meals, or it could be a one night at a hotel stay, right? So it's a decision. So if you do it tonight, you fill it out. Nicole actually ran home to my house while we were doing this training. I didn't even tell Lauren because she would say no. It's easier to ask for forgiveness and permission in business, trust me. And marriage. No, not really. So she ran home. Thank you so much, Nicole. She actually ran home to my house and got the forms and came back for convention. So the first 5 that get it filled out, we'll take care and subsidize the cost. So you'll pay $99, okay? Yep. So what do you want to do for right now? What do you want to do right now? Register for national, rank advance. Rank advance and walk the stage at our regional, okay? There's still time to go bronze. See, you can go bronze by 25 replenishments on your left and your right. And some of us don't even know what that is. Don't worry about it. You can actually do it from 2200 volume on your left and 2200 volume on your right. You have a spa party and you sell a bunch of product, you can go bronze before Sunday. You can do that, right? So don't let your minimum be your maximum, okay? Build into it, all right? You can do that. So that's the end of the training, guys. I appreciate you guys having me so much. It's awesome to be home. We're going to pass out the registration.